Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to learn one of the most important concepts of Java object-oriented programming. Dynamic method dispatch. This topic is very important for interviews, exams, and for understanding how runtime polymorphism actually works in Java. So let's start step by step in a simple and easy way. First, let us understand the definition. Dynamic method dispatch is the mechanism by which a call to an overridden method is resolved at runtime rather than compile time. In simple words, Java decides which method to execute while the program is running. That is why dynamic method dispatch is also called runtime polymorphism in Java. One-line definition. Dynamic method dispatch means the method to be executed is decided at runtime based on the object, not the reference variable. Simple explanation. Now let's understand this in a simple way. Dynamic method dispatch happens when three conditions are fulfilled. A parent class reference refers to a child class object, and an overridden method is called. When these conditions are true, the method of the child class is executed. And this decision is taken at runtime, not at compile time. That is why this concept is called dynamic method dispatch. Let's quickly note down the important points. It is achieved using method overriding. It requires inheritance. Parent class reference must refer to child class object. Method call is resolved at runtime. It provides runtime polymorphism. These are the basic foundations of dynamic method dispatch. Now let us understand the important rules one by one. Rule 1 works only with method overriding. Dynamic method dispatch is possible only when method overriding is used. If there is no overriding, dynamic dispatch cannot happen. So remember, no overriding is equal to no dynamic method dispatch. Rule 2 requires inheritance. There must be an is-a relationship between classes. Dynamic method dispatch works only when a child class inherits a parent class. Without inheritance, this concept is not possible. Rule 3 parent reference, child object is mandatory. This is the most important rule. Dynamic method dispatch occurs only when parent reference is equal to child object. For example, parent obj is equal to new child. This type of object creation is compulsory for dynamic dispatch. Rule 4 method call is decided at runtime. In dynamic method dispatch, which method will execute is not decided at compile time. Instead, it is decided at runtime based on the actual object, not based on the reference type. Rule 5 only overridden methods participate. Dynamic method dispatch applies only to overridden methods. Normal methods or static methods are not part of dynamic dispatch. Rule 6 static methods cannot use dynamic dispatch. Static methods belong to the class, not to the object. So, static methods cannot be dynamically dispatched. They always follow compile time binding. Rule 7 final methods cannot be overridden. If a method is declared as final, it cannot be overridden. So, final methods cannot take part in dynamic method dispatch. Rule 8 private methods cannot be overridden. Private methods are not visible to the child class. So, private methods do not support dynamic method dispatch. So the final conclusion is, dynamic method dispatch follows runtime polymorphism rules and works only with overridden instance methods using parent reference and child object. Let's see a practical Java program to clearly understand this. We have a parent class called superclass which has a method called m1 which simply prints m1 print 1. Then it has another method m2 which prints m2 print 1. Now we have a child class called subclass which extends and inherits the superclass. Inside this subclass, we have an overridden method m2 which prints m2 print 2. And we also have another method called m3 which prints m3 print 2. So, subclass has one overridden method m2, one new method m3. Moving to the main class. Now move to the main class which is called dynamic underscore method underscore dispatch. Here we create an object like this. Superclass obj3 is equal to new subclass. Here, reference type is superclass. Object type is subclass. And this is exactly the condition for dynamic method dispatch. Now let's call the methods. First we write obj3.m1. So it calls superclass m1 and prints m1 print 1. Because m1 is not overridden in subclass. Next we call obj3.m2. Now here is the confusion. Superclass has method m2. Subclass also has overridden method m2. So which one will be called? According to dynamic method dispatch, Java gives priority to the object version, not the reference. Object is of subclass type. So it calls subclass m2 and prints m2 print 2. This proves dynamic method dispatch. Now if we write obj3.m3, this gives an error because reference type is superclass. Method m3 does not exist in superclass. m3 exists only in subclass. So superclass reference cannot access child class method. Therefore, obj3.m3 is not allowed. And if we try, subclass obj4 is equal to new superclass. This is also not possible because we cannot create an object where reference type is child class. Object type is parent class. Child reference cannot hold parent object. Before finishing, let's quickly revise normal inheritance behavior using the same example. Case 1, parent class object. In the main method we write superclass obj1 is equal to new superclass. Now we call obj1.m1. This is easily called because obj1 is parent class object. Superclass has method m1. So it prints m1 print 1. Next we call obj1.m2. This calls its own class, parent class, m2 method. It does not call child class m2 because parent class object cannot access child class methods. So it prints m2 print 1. If we try obj1.m3, this is not possible because parent class cannot access child class method m3. Case 2, child class object. Next we create the object of child class. Subclass obj2 is equal to new subclass. Now we call obj2.m1. First of all it checks in subclass. But m1 is not present in subclass. So it goes to the parent class and finds m1 there. Because of inheritance, child class can access parent class methods. So it prints m1 print 1. Now we call obj2.m2. This calls child class m2 because m2 is overridden in subclass. Child class method gets priority. It does not call parent class M2. So it prints M2 print2. Finally we call obj2.m3. This calls child class M3 directly and prints M3 print2. Because M3 belongs to subclass itself. I hope now the concept is completely clear to you. In the next video, we will learn static and final keywords in Java, variables, methods and classes. So stay tuned. If you found this video helpful, please like, share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.